We're going to focus on intentional torts. Our first type of intentional tort is assault. Do you need me to zoom in more seriously?
Yes, a little more.
Dude, that's good.
That's
good.
Okay, so intentional torts against people. The first intentional tort is assault. And basically assault is threatening to harm an innocent person. The key elements associated with the tort of assault is that it occurs as soon as the victim is afraid of immediate harm to their body. Actual harm, fear, anguish are needed to prove the tort of assault.
Can you say that again?
Yeah. So the intentional tort of assault, threatening to harm a person, an innocent person, the key elements associated. So what I'm going to do with each one of these, intentional torts, is try to give you what the key elements of that tort are. In order to prove the tort of assault, basically there has to be the concept associated with fear. Okay, so note that they're in highlighted, circle it, or whatever. In order for actual harm to be considered in the tort of assault, there has to be the concept of fear. You remember I said to you the three elements have to be present? Okay, well that last one, harm, okay, the actual harm associated with the tort, so the actual harm associated with the tort of assault is the fear. Okay, the victim is afraid of the imminent bodily harm. Okay, so in that case that we talked about before with the crime that was committed in Oklahoma, with the guy who actually killed those people, he could probably turn around and sue. If those people were still alive, he could probably at some point turn around and sue them for assault because they caused that fear in him. Okay, so he could probably turn around and sue them for the fear that they caused. Well, no, I said if they were still alive. Okay, then battery.
I'm just saying, if you think about lying, you should just try to know right.
Battery is the unlawful, unwanted touching of another person. The key elements associated with battery is that there has to be, even if the physical contact is not harmful, there is touching of something that is within close proximity or closely associated with the person's body. So it could be like a backpack or a purse, something along those lines. Those things could be considered battery. So, let's just say you go to a party, okay, and you fall asleep at the party, and you have some relatively crazy friends who decide to light your pants on fire.
Whoa. Sounds like some pretty crap.
That sounds pretty dangerous.
Yeah, it definitely is. You wake up and your pants are burning. You decide to pour your beverage on your pants and put the fire out. Now, your pants are burned, and you have a little bit of a slight, maybe first-degree burn on your leg. Okay. What can you sue your friends for? Can you sue your friends for assault?
You can sue them for battery. The unlawful, unwanted touching of another person.
It's just that they need your pants for a fire. I don't know why.
Okay.
Could
you
sue? You're such a jerk. Because one, they don't have pants anymore either.
Could you sue your friends? Could you sue your friends for assault?
Yeah, aggravated assault.
Could you sue your friends for the tort of assault?
No. Battery.
No, you can't. There's no
You
fear.
can't sue someone if you're dead.
You cannot.
You're right, you can't
You
sue someone
cannot
if
sue
you're dead.
them for assault. Could you sue them for battery?
Yeah.
Yes. You cannot sue them for the tort of assault because did you have fear?
If I was dreaming that was Sapphire.
Yeah.
You did not have fear. You woke up, but you were burning. You were on fire. Okay. You could sue them for the battery now. Okay. You didn't have that fear of the harm. You actually had the harm. So the battery. Okay.
What if?
So
Could you
yeah.
sue them for like aggravated battery?
That you're talking about the criminal side. So again, you gotta keep these separate. So they could be arrested.
They use
So-
some kind of weapon to light them on fire. No?
You're talking about two separate things. Okay? You've got to separate. Shrikar, you bring up a very good point. They could be arrested for the crimes of assault and battery. Separately, though, you could have a civil case and sue them person to person. I'm suing you for the, harm you've done to me associated with this event. Okay? So there's the criminal and then there's the civil. The tort is the civil. They could be arrested for the crime and they're going to go down this path of going and being punished by possible jail time. Remember at the beginning of our class today, I said to you, we're going to look at the situation. We had the situation with Nancy and the shoveling and so on and so forth. We had her being imprisoned by her parents by getting locked up, no friends, cell phone, all that stuff taken away, her freedoms taken away from her versus her punishment of the money. Okay, and the tort is the money side of the equation. The imprisonment, the punishment of loss of freedom is the crime side of the equation. Okay, so one event can be two different types of situations. Okay, all right. So then we have the concept of false imprisonment. With false imprisonment, we have an event where the tortfeasor wrongfully interferes with a person's freedom to move around. The key elements here are it occurs if the person is held in an unreasonable fashion for an unreasonable amount of time. And an example would be like somebody is shoplifting and a store person holds that person. They can hold them for a reasonable amount of time in a reasonable fashion. Locking them in a broom closet in the dark for hours is not reasonable. But if you put them in an office and you call the security and they arrive relatively quickly, you're probably fine. Yes.
What if you accuse someone of something like they didn't do, you just made it up, and then they go to jail? Can you sue them for false imprisonment or tort?
If they go to jail, yes. Yes, and they were wrongfully imprisoned, yes.
So you-
That's our whole mock trial case right now. Right here. 100-something pages worth.
So Robin Bergman was
Wrongfully imprisoned.
and the
Yup.
county of Dover is responsible for it.
Correct. Correct. That is absolutely correct.
Get this man a job.
Yes, you can.
That's the future
Yeah.
of Tufts University right there.
All right. Okay. So then we have our next tort. Remember, these are intentional torts. Is defamation, and defamation occurs when somebody lies about another person in a way that hurts the innocent person's reputation. Maybe that's what happened.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And there are two types. There are libel and slander. And libel is written types of defamation, and slander is verbal or spoken. With regard to libel, that would include television shows, magazine stories, websites where things are written in a false manner, emails. All of that would be considered to be libel. Next class, I'll show you about a case, a couple of cases involving libel and slander. Okay, some key elements here. There's a variety of key elements associated with libel and slander. Okay, some key elements. First of all, the statements have to damage the reputation of the innocent party. The statements have to be false. So truth, even if it hurts, is still the truth. So therefore, it's fine. But false statements are where the problem lies. So, and I'll get to this in a moment, but there's a little differentiation with people in the public eye. So statements communicated to at least one have to be communicated to at least one other person. People are allowed to speak the truth as long as it is not done with spite or ill will. Statements that are made by legislators, God bless you, or in court are considered to be privileged, so they are sort of kept outside of the libel and slander. Okay, so for instance, if somebody has to provide information in a court case, that could be exempted from the libel and slander rules. Because it's considered to be privileged. Kyle, your kink. Get rid of it. Separately, movie stars and public people in the public eye, they must prove that the lies were told with actual malice. So this is a little bit higher burden. So people that are in the public eye have to prove, before they can prove libel and slander, they have to prove that the slanderous or libelous statements are made with actual malice, that the person meant to do harm, that they published a lie in a way or did a poor job of verifying the facts associated with that information. Okay? And we'll talk about a couple of cases next time. Some additional intentional torts against people. Our invasion of privacy. This is when you interfere with a person's right to be left alone, including their ability to be free from unwanted publicity. Key elements here are you must stay out of the private matters of other people, and you cannot use photographs or likenesses or names of people without their permission for advertising, publicity, or marketing purposes. Again, I'll talk about a case next time relating to invasion of privacy. Good?
No. Can you zoom it in a little?
Wait, hold on. I'm done. I write so slowly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good? Next is intentional infliction of emotional distress. This is when somebody falsely causes great emotional or mental distress in another person. Say what? Oh, you're not talking to me. Okay. Do you need me to lower that?
Oh, no, it's okay. I see.
Okay. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Someone cannot falsely cause great emotional or mental distress in another person. the key element here is the distress must be caused by extreme or outrageous conduct. So, recent cases relating to intentional infliction of emotional distress, lawsuits. Can anybody guess where there might be some recent cases relating to this? Having to do with some types of things that...
Feel like you're stressed now or now?
I don't honestly know if you can do that. I don't know. You can look it up.
Probably sign a contract.
What's that?
They probably if you sign something before you go.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're an employee of the government, and they're going to basically be paying for all your health care anyway. So I don't know. But I mean, if you want to look it up for extra credit, you can.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. You can look that up and let us know.
I'll go first
Okay.
and I can get that.
No? No? Okay. All right. Then we have intentional torts against property. Let's look at some of these intentional torts against property. We have first interfering with somebody's real property. Real property is land or any items attached to or affixed to the land. So basically this deals with anybody entering onto somebody else's land. Just the mere presence of somebody on your land without your permission is considered to be the tort of trespass. There does not have to be any actual harm to the land or anything attached to the land. So for instance, sometimes a hunter could trespass on somebody's property in their, whatever, in their hunting process. You could be sued for trespass. There's conversion. This is when you interfere with somebody's personal property and their right to possess their personal property. Basically, if I lent my cell phone to somebody or a rake or a tool or something, and then they don't give it back, that's conversion. Okay, what would conversion be similar to in a criminal sense? Yeah, stealing, right, okay. So again, you could be charged with a crime, you could also be sued for the tort. Nuisance, this is interfering with somebody's right of quiet enjoyment. If it affects your person or household, and it affects a lot of people, it could be a public nuisance if it's a lot of people. So, for instance, loud noises, foul odors. Okay, that would be considered nuisance. Then lastly is disparagement. This is when we lie about objects that belong to somebody else and we disparage or comment on the quality or the ownership in such a fashion that it could result in the loss of money to the person whose property you're disparaging. So if you say something that is in perfectly reasonable fashion or you don't even know what fashion it's, what condition it's in, and you tell potential buyers that it's defective, that would be disparagement. And those are our intentional torts. What I'd like for us to do is to work on some cases relating to these.